100 hours. That means some kind of water shortage or water cutting for water supplies for a long time would reduce the hygiene and make the people prone to use unsafe water, especially when we know this area is the sanitation service in this area is very poor, and the coverage is very percent is very low. So the people can use the hand pump or other water resources, and many studies demonstrate that this kind of containers or this kind of water sources can be a source for contamination. So the public health could be affected. The conclusion, the observation of heavy rain event in the recent years indicates that it became more or less repeated in regular form. So also the extreme climate event have an impact on both water supply and sanitation system efficiency. Like happened in Alexandria, water would increase the probability of cutting the water supply, which have a potential impact on the public health. The climate event are relatively away from the scope of water manager and expert. So we water supplies have to seek to develop driving approaches and measures of adaptation and to deal with this sudden extreme climate event or other accident may affect the water supply to ensure the sustainability of water supplies. We suggest adaptation headlines of adaptation measures could be helpful for the water suppliers to develop such plan. Our headlines consist of warming up, planning, implementation, evaluation, and feedback. The first step is the warming up. We can warming up this issue or this problem by awareness raising among the different water management related entities and stakeholders. It's very important to make a detection for the problem. So introduce the impact of climate extreme event to the water supplies, and also the problem definition from different perspective. In water field, there is many water bodies. So if each body or entity have a perspective, so we can make some kind of consensus between this among these bodies. That could be achieved by informative workshop and seminar and media orientation towards the climate change, consultation with the water resource, and sharing the point of view among the stakeholders. The second point is the planning. The planning consists two main steps: individual work this work is responsible for is a responsibility for the water suppliers to develop a quick intervention during the extreme event to mitigate or avoid the cutting of water supplies during this event. And we can achieve this step by making some kind of analysis or some kind of studies like water demand management, calculate the water balance and the main demand, and updating scenarios of water shutdown. And the second step is adaptation concerning operation measures and to check the readiness of alternative water resource, for example, groundwater, desalination plants, or riverbank filtration, because sometimes the riverbank filtration could be a good solution, or alternative solution to deliver the water for the people. And the conjunction use and the readiness of switching. Regarding to water quality management, it's very important to make a hazard identification and risk assessment, risk analysis, and to define the operational alert limits and define health risk alert. The mutual work, it is an integrated work.
Ahmed, you have 2 minutes.
Okay, I just have one slide. Is an integrated work among the stakeholders at different levels and different areas to based on understanding and collaboration. The last one is the implementation. During the implementation, we need to various modification to infrastructure in extreme event-prone area, and many details engineering and procurement and communication and management. And we need to design an evaluation plan or feedback to a steering committee and suggest an improvement plans. Thank you for attention, and welcome for any comments and any questions. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Muhandis Ahmed, for this very informative presentation. One or two clarification questions. We hope to have some more time for an elaborated discussion at the end of the third presentation. But if there are no clarification questions, I will just invite Muhandis Ziad Alawneh to tell us the perspective of the civil society on what climate.
مساء الخير مرة ثانية. Good evening. My name is Ziad and I am from the civil society. And what I am going to present is at a very small scale. It is not like Egypt. He has spoken about all Egypt, nor about the Zarqa watershed area, which is almost a huge area that extends into the Syrian land. But I am going to talk about a couple of examples that we have implemented at the small scale. However, we're not, I think, arguing whether climate change is a fact or whether climate change is impacting our water resources and utilities. It had been already, though in some areas, as Ms. Mira said, there is some intense rain in certain areas increase, in other areas decrease, but overall there is a decrease in water precipitation. I have based my presentation on the third national communication report, and here is a representative from the Ministry of Environment. But here what you see is my organization, which is Land and Human to Advocate Progress. This is an organization affiliated with many international organizations. So we are based in Jordan, but we are connected to many other regional and international through which we provide our services to our communities. And this is how our approach, we connect community with experts, bring with donors so that we could serve the community. Here what it says, the third communication report in Jordan, when it speaks about the status of water in Jordan. This is a fact. Jordan is among the, and nobody argue on this, 147 cubic. This report was produced in 2014, but maybe it had continued. It's 2 years old, and in 2010 we had 147 cubic meter per person for all uses, and this is going to be 130 cubic meter out of this, as it's stated in the report, comes from renewable water resources. So the others come from the non-conventional, the fossil ground extraction, and the reuse of reclaimed water. So if the supply of water continues per capita by 2025, then we're going to have 90 cubic meter of water per person, that is a critical point that would affect the economic growth and potentially endanger public health. Yesterday we have witnessed our Prime Minister opening the first desalination plant, and this is I mean, though this is a good thing, and as he said, this is something related to the Dead Red Canal, but he said, this is what's the first to come, which means that we're going to witness, and this is the report, what it says, a decrease in water resources. So we've adopted several policy strategies, but all the projects Jordan is implementing are mega ones, and what I'm going to present is small ones at the level of community and level of buildings, and you would see what we've done. This is the status of climate change in Jordan in 2014, according to the third communication report, which is a national collective effort. It's not only the Ministry of Environment, but it is all the other ministries, including the Ministry of Water and Irrigation. This is based on this, and the two models, it says that the water sector faces our temperature increase. So this means evaporation of more water. So we're having less water. Precipitation decrease, increased incidence of drought, so we're witnessing this, and increased evaporation. So once you evaporates, we have less water in the flowing in the wadis and rivers. And this is something that would affect, even if you get less water in your house and in your industry, then you're going to have, and we have designed our utilities like the treatment plants with certain specification to deal with BODs. Then when you get less water, then the BOD would go higher. And this means that the utilities will not operate as proper as we have designed, the way we have done our immediate relief project, which is a Samra that we have constructed in 1984. So climate sensitivity indicators in water sector were determined as, so what would happen? We have reduced groundwater recharge. And we're going to have groundwater quality deterioration. And we have a problem in believing that the quality of water we get is of a good one. That's otherwise, then you will not find Jordanians and others going into the water shops to buy water and bottles, or the big bottles and the small ones. And this is what I said: stream flow reduction, and then increased water demand. So there will be an increased water demand. So this assessment is very high. It says 3.71 out of 5. This table is taken from the third communication report as well, and it says list of prioritized adaptation measures in water sector. So all the hazards that had been indicated: precipitation decreased, temperature increased, drought, evaporation. We have the sensitive indicators. It says at the level of precipitation decrease, groundwater level decline, groundwater quality deterioration, stream flow reduction. And the hazard is very high, 3 highs, and 1 is very high. And they have identified what should we start with. And this is something we have done at the level of the small communities. We are encouraging them to harvest water, and you will see what we've done. And this one, again, the urban system, and this is related to utilities if you look at the water infrastructure. If we assume that the intense rain we have got since 2013, 2014, 2015 is related to climate change, then this is actually the outcome of this is damaging our utility systems. And we've seen so many things in Amman, and it's mentioned here is Alexa, one of the we've witnessed in 2013, and last year we have witnessed the same thing. So we are having an impact by climate change, assuming that what we're getting in terms of intense rain is related to climate change, that is damaging not only our utility systems, but blocking our roads, damaging and washing out so many things. In addition to what I have said, Jordan is scarce in water resources. Jordan is scarce in energy. It's rich in sun. But we're not nowadays, over the past 2 years since the endorsement of the new alternative law for renewable energy, now it's booming. So we have, a situation, a political situation around us. So we have so many. The population is not fixed. If we say today is 9 million or 10 million or 11 million, you cannot tell what would be next year. And this is what we have witnessed since the Iraqi invasion to Kuwait in 1991. So it is on the increase. The mortality, the fertility rate is fixed, but what we're getting out is so, and therefore this is more stress on our resources, among which is water. You're looking at me. How much time I have? 5 minutes. Okay. So we have so many challenges that we're facing at the level of the country. But I always tell people, we are the most resilient people. Jordanians are the most resilient people. Because see what's happening, our shoulders are open, and we are receiving and welcoming everybody. And you are mostly welcomed as well. This is our project. This is called Improve Community Resilience. I will spend the 6 minutes here. improve community resilience to climate change and limited resources. And I think the government of Jordan is not paying much attention to this. They are only going to mega projects. And I believe in the small projects and in the community, because this community we're talking about is ignored and far away from the center. Because as you see, all what's taking place happening in Amman. We have a project funded by 2 international organizations, FHI 360, which is USAID, and the other one is International Coca-Cola plus UNDP Jordan. It's on greening public buildings project. I want to give you 2 figures. We have in Jordan 8,000 mosques. Jordan is 9 millions, 10 millions. So if you go to Egypt, you would find maybe 80,000. And if you go to another country, it would be a different story. And we have about 5,000 to 6,000 schools. And these are public buildings. And if we have so many public buildings, sports centers, health centers. It's time to go into these areas and utilize them properly. Harvest water, separate gray water used for irrigation with minimal treatment, as well as installing photovoltaic cells. And this is what we did. 8 sites in 8 governorates, 2 mosques, one in Tafila, one in Ramta, 2 churches. And when I asked Ms. Haddad, they said, we are Khirbat al-Wahadne, a Roman Orthodox. We have installed over there, you will see what we've done, and a room, Asmaki al-Karak. This is their Latin. 2 halls, Jarash municipality, Jarash major, greater municipality, and the youth center of Jordan Valley, which is just about 20 kilometers from here. And 2 municipality buildings, which is Halabat in the Badia, as well as the other municipal, I don't know, I forgot the other one. We have already installed photovoltaic cells to all these by the fund we have. We have replaced the glazes by double glaze. This literature says you reduce 40% of the energy, which means I assume that you reduce 40% of the fossil fuel. And since you are getting energy from the sun, then look at the table here, over there. It says in the table that carbon dioxide, if you have a system on the roof, which is 6 kilowatt peak, then you are reducing the carbon dioxide, which is responsible for climate change, by 9,027 kilograms almost, or 28. It's true that this may not directly influence our climate change because this is, comes from your neighbors. But again, this is improving our record as Jordan because we are reducing our bill in terms of carbon dioxide generation. Look at if you have a 10 kilowatt peak, then this is 14 tons almost of carbon dioxide, forgetting about the other types of NOxes and SOxes plus particulates. So these are small scales at a church, on a mosque, on a municipality hall, a municipality building. Imagine that this is part of our message. If we replicate this into all, if we plan from now until 10 years to include budgets so that we renovate these sites. We've done 2 systems. At the level of energy, photovoltaic cells, the majority are operating. Double glaze, we've changed it, and we have changed all the bulbs by LED light. As you know, the other bulbs, they contain mercury, and Jordan have signed and ratified Minamata Convention. So we are complying to the convention as well, apart from the fact that LED gives you better. I mean, you've changed a bulb with 40 watt, and now the new one is 9.5. Even you can calculate how much carbon dioxide your double glaze and in the church of Khirbat al-Wahadne, we have replaced 561 bulbs in the whole area because it has a school, it has a meeting room for the community. So these are, and in the water, we have dig a cistern, a water cistern, which accommodates about 70 cubic meter of water. We had a floating pump. We installed this. We had a system, a network of water harvesting. We installed water-saving devices. Water-saving devices, they say, they used to be tax exempted in Jordan. Now they are no more tax exempted. And only one shop sells them in Jordan. In the 90s, they were getting much support. Nowadays, and even one of my notice, people were